The relaxing sound of fresh, cold running water. And you can have it in your kitchen. With amazing savings on Samsung fridge freezers at Currys PC World. Like the RB31 with its chilled water dispenser for only $399. Or upgrade to the Samsung RS8000 American-style fridge freezer with water and ice dispenser. A huge 609 litres of storage space. At just $104.9. How relaxing. At Currys PC World. Energy rating A+. T's and C's apply.
MLB is right here on TuneIn.
A swing and a drive to right field. That's it. Well, Ramirez back, and that ball's gone.
And to find it all, you need to search MLB on TuneIn.
By the wall, out of here.
Home and away calls are a click away on TuneIn Premium.
ESPN Radio and TuneIn just go hand in hand. Hi, this is Mel Kiper Jr. reminding you that all of your favorite ESPN radio shows and events are right here on TuneIn. Just search ESPN Radio to begin enjoying today.
It's Liz Hernandez with your TuneIn Music News Update.
Perez Hilton says Halsey is dating American Horror Story actor Evan Peters. In 2012, she tweeted, "Evan Peters, stop making me attracted to alleged sociopaths and accused murderers." Then in 2014, Halsey posted, "I'm so in love with Evan Peters. I'm so whipped." Meanwhile, Ed Sheeran tells People magazine that he's always shooting for the top. Ed says, "If you're a basketball player, you should aim to be better than LeBron James. You have to aim for the top." To hear music from Halsey and Ed Sheeran, search today's hits on TuneIn.
MSNBC is on TuneIn. Get up-to-the-minute coverage on news and events from around the world with MSNBC's live 24/7 station on TuneIn. At home or on the go, stay up to date on the latest news and political trends with MSNBC's full lineup of shows, including Hardball with Chris Matthews.
Hi, I'm Chris Matthews. Thanks for listening to MSNBC on TuneIn.
And The Rachel Maddow Show. Plus, when news breaks, MSNBC has you covered with live updates, expert analysis, and more. Search MSNBC on TuneIn today.
In case you didn't know, TuneIn lets you listen to the same radio stations you pick up on your home or car radio, except you can hear them from anywhere. If you want to find a station from somewhere else in the world, navigate to the By Location section under Browse. Keep exploring with TuneIn.
College football is live on TuneIn. Listen for free to games from more than 140 schools all season long.
To the 10, all the way to the checkerboard. Somebody stays on his feet and scores.
What's happening in college football this week? This Saturday, two undefeated SEC teams square off to see who is a college football playoff contender. Number 10 Florida welcomes number 7 Auburn to town at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Just search college to listen today.
Welcome back to Power Lunch. We're awaiting President Trump's news conference with the president of Finland. Markets are under pressure, although off the session lows. The Dow is down nearly 500 points right now. S&P 500 down by 53.5, about 12 points off the session lows.
U.S. car sales numbers are out for September, and despite a mixed bag of results, the automakers are down across the board with the rest of the market this day. Phil LeBeau joins us now with those numbers. Hi, Phil.
Tyler, today we got the Q3 results from the big three. Yesterday we got the foreign automakers. In terms of the Q3 results, they were mixed, but generally speaking, when you look at the entire industry, the third quarter was up relative to the third quarter of last year. Whether it's GM, Fiat Chrysler, or Ford, keep this in mind about these numbers. It is in comparison with last year. It was a little better than expected for Fiat Chrysler, and for Ford, a little weaker than expected for General Motors. In terms of the pace of sales right now in the United States, we're running at about a 17 million clip. That means that if the fourth quarter comes in at the same sales pace, it'll be the fifth straight year where auto sales are at least 17 million vehicles in the U.S. Couple of stocks to watch today. Tesla, we are awaiting word on Q3 deliveries. Could be later today. More likely, many believe it'll be tomorrow. But when we get those, the number to focus on, the estimate is 99,000 vehicles being delivered. And then when you look at General Motors, the talks continue between GM and the UAW. But guys, as we've talked about for some time, when they start airing their grievances and saying, well, that offer really wasn't good enough, that's a clear sign that they are not close to a deal. Back to you.
Phil, stay right there. Let's talk a little bit more about whether the automakers can rev up their sales numbers into the end of the year now with Jeremy Acevedo. He's manager of industry analysis at Edmunds. Jeremy, what do you think? We know Black Friday is actually a huge selling day for cars here, but we also know from this journal article today that there's the credit terms that have been extended are already extremely generous. So how much higher can sales go?
Well,
sales have a little bit left in the tank, especially as we move into the fourth quarter. Americans are buying at the very tip of their budget, with the average cost of vehicles being about $37,000 in 2019. But as we move into the fourth quarter of the year, interest rates are going to be as low as they've ever been for the year. It should get shoppers out there. It should get them reinterested in the market, a tried and true method to push sales.
Incentives are, but that's usually a sign of desperation, right?
A little bit, but it's also to move some outgoing inventory. Sales this year aren't as high as they were in years past, but we should be looking at sales of about 17 million. Should be the fifth straight year where the industry hits that mark, something that has never done in its history.
Talk to us about Ford a little bit. Fords were standout, but not in a good way. Vehicle sales down. We know Ford is de-emphasizing vehicles, but their F-150 was down as well, and I believe their SUV sales were lower also. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where does this put Ford?
So Ford's in a transition period right now. They don't have the new truck that GM and Ram both have. It's staying with the aging F-150 platform, so that's certainly one cause for the decline. But also the Explorer and the Escape are going to be brand new, but they just haven't hit the market just yet. So they are trickling into dealership lots, but it's not something that's out there in mass. Once they do hit the dealership lots in full, sales should rebound, and Ford should be in much better shape.
Phil, help us understand the 17 million mark that is going to be record-setting if we achieve it this year. Right. What kind of economic backdrop do we need to have in order for those forecasts, do you think, to hold true? I mean, what are the analysts saying in terms of what they're expecting, what they need to see in the context of the U.S. economy in order to get to 17.1?
The biggest indicator is consumer confidence, Melissa. Melissa, the biggest indicator is consumer confidence. If you see that fall off, then it's likely that you're going to see auto sales drop. They generally move in lockstep with each other. And really, when you're looking at the new vehicles that are out there, people are, while these prices are going up, and I know Kelly mentioned this journal article about 7-year loans, you still have a lot of people who are saying, wow, this is a great time to buy, given the fact that we have the interest rates, given the fact that if I don't want to buy new, there's a great selection on the used side. We're just not seeing people who are saying it's not a good time to buy a new car.
So, Phil, quick thought here. When and how does the GM strike start to affect sales, or has it already?
Not so far. We've been tracking those numbers. It hasn't, because the dealers have plenty of inventory. And Tyler, I've said this from the beginning. They've got enough inventory where they're fine for 4 or 5 weeks. Then you would start to see people say, I don't have the vehicle that I'm looking for at this particular dealership. And even then, Tyler, keep in mind, if you're looking for a Chevy Silverado, you're a Chevy guy. And you know that the strike will eventually end. And you'll say, okay, well, I'll put it off for a month or two.
Jeremy, we saw some pretty weak numbers from Nissan, Toyota, and Honda. Is there a trade war effect there, or what's going on?
That's just a little bit of a demand declining for those models. Specifically, their car lines haven't done too well.
I think we have the announcement that the President of the United States and the President of Finland are entering the East Room. Let's go to that picture and listen in.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Look at all the press that you attract. Do you believe this? That's very impressive.
They are not after me.
Huh? I hope not. You're lucky. Thank you very much. Today it's my honor to welcome President Niinistö of Finland to the White House. And Mr. President, it's wonderful to host you once again in Washington. We've gotten to know each other over the last period of time, and it's been a great experience. The President and I have just concluded very productive discussions on a number of exciting opportunities for our two nations. Before going further, I want to express our deep condolences over the horrific stabbing attack that took place yesterday at a college in Finland. America is praying for the victims and their families, and we send our unwavering love and support.
Thank you.
The American and Finnish people are linked by an abiding commitment to self-government, individual rights, democracy, and the rule of law. This past May, our country celebrated the 100th anniversary of America's recognition of the independent nation of Finland in 1919. As President Wilson wrote at the time, Our recognition was prompted by the sympathies for a cause similar to that which caused our own Declaration of Independence in 1776. A century after we established diplomatic relations, the United States and Finland remain united by those same cherished values. Central to this effort is our nation's close cooperation on matters of security and defense. Although Finland is not a member of NATO, save a lot of money. Finland participates in many NATO missions and exercises, and I'm pleased that Finland is substantially increasing its military budget. America and Finland are also working together to advance stability, freedom of navigation, and respect for national sovereignty in the Arctic. Both of our nations are committed to a secure Arctic region free from external intrusion, interference, and coercion. Simply put, we believe that the affairs of the Arctic should be governed by the actual nations of the Arctic. And as you know, there are other people coming into the Arctic, and we don't like it. And we can't let it happen. And we won't let it happen. The United States and Finland are likewise partnering to ensure the security of 5G networks. It is critical that we use safe and trustworthy technology providers, components, and supply chains. We welcome the establishment of the OROS Innovation Center in Finland. Qualcomm has done a fantastic job with that. This innovation center will greatly expand American and Finnish businesses and cooperation in 5G. We're also glad that the Finnish company Nokia, it's a great company, a global leader in 5G technology, is developing its cutting-edge products right here in the United States at Bell Labs in New Jersey. Across the United States, foreign direct investment from Finland totals over $10 billion. Each year, Finnish-owned companies invest more than $120 million in research and development in America and expand our exports by more than $1 billion. Just today, Finnish Nokian Tires opened a new manufacturing plant in Dayton, Tennessee, a $360 million investment that is creating hundreds of brand new, beautiful jobs for a great state, Tennessee. We love Tennessee. So they made a wise choice. You never lose when you go to Tennessee. I encourage other Finnish companies to increase their investments in the United States. There has simply never been a better time to do business in America. We have passed the largest tax cuts and reform and also regulation cuts in the history of our country. We slashed business tax, and we're fueling job growth through our record-setting campaign to abolish all of those really terrible, unnecessary regulations. We have plenty of regulations, but many of them we didn't need. We got rid of them. The American economy is booming. Wages are rising, incomes are soaring, and unemployment has hit its lowest level in more than half a century. We want Finnish companies to join in America's extraordinary economic revival. So many countries are coming in. It's the hot place. We have the hottest economy in the world, and it's the hot place to be. They all want to be here. The President and I are also working on a way to improve international trade based on the principle of fairness and, my favorite word, reciprocity. I hope that Finland, which now holds the rotating presidency of the EU Council, will support our efforts to achieve a mutually beneficial agreement with the European Union. We're going to have to start doing something with the European Union because they have not been treating this country right for many, many years, and they know it, and I tell them, and they know it. America's trade deficit with the EU has been averaging $160 billion a year for many, many years. Achieving more balanced and robust trade flows would greatly benefit both Finland and the United States. We also appreciate Finland's strong partnership in combating predatory trade practices worldwide, including the theft of intellectual property. From trade to security, from travel to commerce, we are immensely grateful for our close and deeply valued friendship with the people of Finland, great people. And we're now working on a deal to sell a large number of airplanes, fighter jets, hopefully to Finland. See how that works out. But we make the greatest jets in the world. We make the greatest missiles and military equipment anywhere in the world. Nobody's even close. Mr. President, I want to thank you again for visiting the White House. The history of our two nations is a profound testament to the importance of our independence and resolve to defend it. I look forward to continuing to work alongside of you as we safeguard our precious sovereignty and build a bright future of hope, harmony, and peace for the American and Finnish people. And thank you very much for being with us at the White House and the Oval Office. We had a very special number of hours. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I will deliver your condolences to Finnish people. They do appreciate that. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before meeting, I had some spare time, so I visited a couple of museums here. Museum of American History, Museum of African History, and Museum of American Indian History. And in addition to that, I had a possibility of attending ceremony in Arlington. Mr. President, you have here a great democracy. Keep it going on. We had a very good discussion with the President. Like you mentioned, our diplomatic relations are 100 years old. During that time, we have developed our cooperation a lot, not only in official meetings like this, but American and Finnish people, scientists, for example, meet each other, cooperating, working together. We have quite a lot of cooperation in security sector, also in defense, because I think that we share the feeling that the most important thing for the nation is to guarantee security to its citizens. And that is the starting point for Finland also to this cooperation. I wanted to take up with the President the importance of transatlantic cooperation. Well, we all know Europe needs USA. But I say that USA needs also Europe. We know the price of everything. We should recognize also the value of everything. We share the same values, democracy, human rights, rule-based order, and in that we are very similar. Europe has, in a way, awakened during the couple last years to understand also more about security point of view. And I just want to tell you that, in my opinion, the stronger Europe we have, the stronger partner you have. The Arctic area, you know, Finland is in very north, is becoming more and more interesting, like the President said. We both, alongside with 6 countries, form the Arctic Council. And we are working heavily. There are surely possibilities, like we have heard. The maritime routes are being opened. Maybe there are also resources, but there are huge risks. One of them is that we should keep the low tension we are used to have there. And that is what we have been discussing. And I do appreciate President's position to emphasize that it is not a place for military. But even greater challenge is the environment. And I'm very glad that we started to talk 2 years ago in this very house about black coal. It is not maybe the worst which causes climate problems, but it is everybody can understand that if black comes down to ice and snow, when the sun meets it, it melts down. and melting of sea ice in Arctic is very crucial. I used to say that if we lose the Arctic, we lose the globe. We add a couple of words, very important ones, on arms control. Some of us remember the worst years of Cold War in 1960s. There was no agreement at all, just Cold War. We can't let the situation return, no agreement at all about arms control. And that is why it is important to try to negotiate new agreements and to continue the New START agreement. That would be a good new start for international cooperation on that. To end up with, you, Mr. President, referred to 5G issues, ICT as a whole. We are very proud to have the excellence of Center of Excellence of Hybrid in Helsinki. USA has been very helpful in that. Very many countries are working there together to fight against the future danger of hybrid warfare. What comes to providers in that area, I am not very willing to point out any country or company. We are now maybe a bit late from USA in EU making a risk assessment. It will be prepared in 1-2 weeks' time, and after that we are in a place that we have to choose the tools to protect us. Mr. President, I want to thank you very much for having a possibility of meeting you here. It is very valuable, and I found our discussions very open, very interesting, and giving a lot to my little country. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Before we take questions, something happened that's been going on for many decades, and we came to a conclusion. Could I ask Ambassador Pence to just come up for 1 second and explain the importance of what just took place? Because this has been going on for many, many years. And this is Ambassador Pence, no relationship to our great Vice President. Hard to believe. Nobody believes that, but that's true.
That was one.
Right?
But I have been introduced as his father, his brother, his cousin, his uncle. We are friends. Good afternoon. When I arrived in Helsinki about a year and a half ago, there were a stack of papers on the desk, one of a couple of which concerned indigenous peoples from the southwestern United States, Arizona, Colorado, including probably most predominantly, but generically I refer to them as Hopi Indians. They were one of the group. In 1895, a lot of their remains had been excavated and removed, along with about 500 artifacts, to Finland. And there they've remained despite a lot of activity to get them back. And I'll just jump to the end and say through the good offices of our State Department, but in particular, President Niinistö and his entire team, we've secured a mutual agreement whereby all of those remains, including a number of petrified bodies, will be going back to be put back where they were buried. So it's special to us, and I think it's probably special to indigenous peoples everywhere around the globe, that we're all concerned about paying appropriate respect to those who have departed before us. So thank you. Thank you, both of the presidents, for supporting this.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Be careful. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's a great job, Mr. Ambassador. That's been going on for many, many decades. So I just want to thank you. Outstanding. John Roberts.
Mr. President, thank you. President Niinistö. If I could, sir, I've got two pertinent questions to ask you. Maybe I could ask them separately to get a fresh answer out of each one. The three House committees that are looking into the impeachment inquiry gave notice today that they will be sending a subpoena to the White House for documents and other materials. Will you cooperate with those subpoenas?
Well, I always cooperate. This is a hoax. This is the greatest hoax. This is just a continuation of what's been playing out, John, for the last since my election, I would say, if you want to. Probably we'll find out soon, but probably even before my election. This is a fraudulent crime on the American people, but we'll work together with Shifty Shift and Pelosi and all of them, and we'll see what happens, because we did absolutely. I had a great call with the president of Ukraine. It was 100%. You have the transcript. And then Schiff went up and he got, as the chairman of the committee, got up and related a call that didn't take place. He made up the language. Hard to believe. Nobody's ever seen this. I think he had some kind of a mental breakdown. But he went up to the microphone and he read a statement from the President of the United States as if I were on the call. Because what happened is, when he looked at the sheet, which was an exact transcript of my call, done by very talented people that do this, exact, word for word, he said, wow, he didn't do anything wrong. So he made it up. He went up to a microphone, and in front of the American people and in Congress, he went out and he gave a whole presentation of words that the President of the United States never said. It has to be a criminal act. It has to be. And he should resign. And some people even say it was treason. But it was a very sad thing. Just so you know, the call was perfect, the real call, the call I made. Many people were on the line. I knew that because usually when I speak to foreign country leaders, you can name any one of them, but when I speak on the phone, I know that we have many people listening from various intelligence agencies. My knowledge, I know all about it. And so this isn't something like, oh, gee, I'm on the line, let's talk about a big secret. This is many people on the line. I don't even know how many. We'll find out, I guess. But many people. Mike Pompeo was on the line. Didn't say anything. He just, because they listen for both knowledge and for security reasons and for lots of reasons. But the president of Ukraine at the United Nations the other day, and previous to that, he announced through his spokesperson, said there was absolutely no pressure put on him. There was no quid pro quo at all. And if you look at this, whistleblowers, which I have a lot of respect for whistleblowers, but only when they're real. His report of the phone call was totally different than the fact. But what got them was they never thought I was going to release the call, because I don't like doing that. I don't want to do it. I hope I don't have to do it again. Release phone calls to foreign dignitaries, to foreign leaders. I don't want to do that, John. I don't want to do it again. But I did it with the permission of the Ukrainian government. We got permission. We called up their representatives and asked them, would it be okay? Otherwise, I couldn't have done it. And if I wouldn't have done it, I would have been exposed to a lie. Because the whistleblower report, didn't he say 7 or 8 times I said quid pro quo? In other words, you're going to do this or you're not going to get money. Now, in all fairness, Biden said it, and he's on tape. In all fairness, you have at least 4 United States senators, Democrats, that said it, and they said it a lot stronger than even Schiff and his made-up story said it. Obama, when he was dealing with the president of Russia, not Putin, he said, hey, tell Vladimir I can do a lot more after the election. You remember that? You didn't make a big deal out of that. Everybody thought, oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? My talk and my response, Lindsey Graham said, I never knew you were that nice. I can't believe you were that nice. He said that loud and clear. It was perfect. It was perfect. Not a thing wrong with it. To impeach a president over a fraud that was committed by other people that want to win an election in 2020, which they won't, is incredible. This is the greatest hoax. Now, it's gone on for a long time. We had the Mueller collusion delusion, okay? That went on for years. And that's finally done. No collusion, no obstruction, no nothing. It was a joke, and everyone knows it. And it was from the day one. Now, I get 3 days of peace, and I'm walking into the United Nations, going to meet with the biggest leaders in the world, and I hear about the word impeachment. I said, what did I do now? And it was about a beautiful conversation that I had. And just remember this, the Ukrainian new president, a fine man,